All right, Brandon. I think we're recording now. Thank you so much for taking out some time, man.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate it. So let me jump right in. I saw The Flood. I thought it was awesome. You know, how did you end up getting this gig directing The Flood? How did that come about for you?
So first off, where's your accent?
I'm from Long Island.
Okay, great. I spent roughly a third to half my life in New York City, Queens, and New Jersey.
That's epic, dude. I love it.
Yeah. So I had done another movie that came out through Saipan called Battle for Saipan, which is a martial arts movie set within World War II. And the producers of this actually lost the original director, and they were shooting it in Thailand, where we shot Battle for Saipan with a lot of the same crew and a couple of the same cast, for instance, Casper and Louis Mandylor and a couple others. And so he called me and asked if I could do it. And I said, absolutely, because the script was written by a friend of mine named Chad Law, who one of the last movies I actually acted in, Daylight's End, he wrote, and we've known each other for a number of years. He wrote the script with his writing partner, Josh Ridgway. Without even reading it, I said, absolutely, let's do it. Because Chad and I had tried to do something for like a number of years as a writer director, and it just never happened. So finally it did.
Oh, it's awesome, man. I love it. I love it, man. So, you know, what would you say scares you the most about alligators? I'm fucking terrified. So,
so the scariest thing about them is trying to film CGI alligators in water. Because my God, the water challenges. Shooting a movie that takes place in rain, in water up to your rib cage and stuff, it has challenges that you would never anticipate or even believe at this point. It was tough. So basically, yeah, the water is scarier than the gators to me. So the set that we had the cell block in, that was built, and the only way out was to take a ladder up and around. Wow. Which got to be kind of a pain in the ass, especially when you have all these big guys playing the prisoners going in and out, and the guards and the police and various crew and everything. So a lot of the time I would just stay in there. The days we had these water shoes that didn't really work, or we just stayed submerged for too long. My feet had holes in them.
Oh,
and
no.
Like the surface of Mars. I mean, I would, someone else asked me if I would do water again, and at the time of shooting it, no, I wouldn't, but I would now, if especially if someone insured my feet. And I could do an entire 48-hour style show about the challenges of shooting in water.
Oh my God, man. Yeah, I can only imagine, man. So, let's talk about that next. So what would you say? Let's talk about the visual effects in the film. Like the challenges with filming, CGI gators, or, let's talk about that. What's the biggest challenge there?
Really making sure that your cast, first off, that they're looking in the right spot, that let's say Nikki Whalen's looking here, and you don't want Lewis looking this way. Although they're both Australian, so they probably both look the right way. But you make sure that the eye lines are proper. And, that's the first step. And beyond that, you just want to make sure that that there's the right spatial awareness, that you can really feel the weight of what is invisible there. And I know a lot of times you see people use tennis balls, stuff like that. I don't even remember what we used as the point of reference. I mean, it was probably a tennis ball on a C-stand, which a C-stand, for people who don't know, is what you put your lights on. But and beyond that, you have to have that trust with that belief from the actors that you're not going to make them look like an idiot.
Sure.
So, so it's really a combination of a lot of things that sound really easy, but getting the right marriage of them can be tough, especially dealing with water and shooting at 3 a.m. right after you got acclimated to Thailand time. Um, it's a roller coaster.
That's wild, man. You know, and I'm a big fan of Casper Van Dien. Kind of, how did he come aboard this film? How did that happen?
He was actually on it before I was.
Oh, okay, cool.
The producers had, we had him on Battle for Saipan, and he's very underrated. I think people, still look at him in Starship Troopers, which a lot of people still don't realize to this day it's a satire.
Sure.
And everything was very intentional. And I think he's kind of come into this like golden age where he's become a really great character actor. And there's a certain grit to him. And he's just a good person. He's just a regular guy. Even though he used to be married to like Robert Mitchum's granddaughter, he's still just a man. So yeah, Casper was already on it because producers loved working with him in Battle for Saipan. And the writer Chad had told me he was doing a Casper movie, and I'm like, oh yeah, you'll have a good time with him. And then probably 2 weeks later, I was suddenly on the same movie, and I texted Casper like, hey, man, I just heard. And then putting him, Lewis, who I've known forever, and myself in the movie is the jokes never end.
Sure, man. I was gonna ask about that. Your collaboration with Louis Mandylor. That's pretty cool that you worked together with him, and you're also directing him in Breakout, which is upcoming. So, how did that come about for you?
I knew him through mutual friends. We were trying to figure it out when we were shooting Battle for Saipan. I think we originally met maybe in 2008 or so. And at the time, I think I was trying to direct and act in a movie that I wanted him to be the second lead in. And so a friend of ours who I think actually cut Diana Inosanto's movie, The Sensei, that Lewis worked on, actually put us in touch. And we hit it off immediately and just stayed in touch for, years and years and years. I think there's a random picture of us online having dinner with Marty Cove for Cobra Kai. We became fast friends, and I've always had like a respect for each other. And the past few years, finally, we got to do a lot together, and it just turned out to be one after another after another. He actually texted me the other day saying, "Are you sick of me?"
Hell no, man. That's epic. That's so cool. So, you brought up, we chatted about the visual effects, and you mentioned about the water. What would you say overall was the biggest challenge on this production, if you had to pick something out?
Take your pick. What's weird is, okay, so there's a scene in the movie that's all done in like Michael Bay epic slow motion where the prisoners come out of the bus and go in and walk past Nikki and Alex, the other cop. The giant rain machine, it sounds simple, right? Like you set it up, the water tanks come up, you just go. Oh no. That's rarely go over on schedule. And that day I went like 3, 4, 5 hours over. But really, it was a combination of that, and it was a combination of the schedule. Like, I was telling someone else, there's a scene where the character Angelo Bear, who's like 6'10", killed, and what was in the script like wasn't quite working, and we had to think of something new. And a bunch of us just looked at each other and were blank at the same time. Just the elements, really. The elements were the challenge.
I can imagine, dude. Yeah, I can imagine. That's cool. I love it. So, I got time for one more question. I want to ask you about also your upcoming film, Arena Wars, that you co-wrote and directed. It looks fucking cool. So, what can you tell us about that? I'm totally down for that as well.
Yeah, that's a fun one. It's like if Paul Verhoeven directed The Running Man.
Ooh.
Like, it has that tongue-in-cheek sense of humor, and it's like legitimately funny, but at the same time, like these other movies, it has heart, and you, especially this one, the characters, all the actors really gelled really nicely. So basically, Arena Wars is similar to The Running Man or Smash TV. It's a violent game show where prisoners can win their freedom, which I guess is Running Man, but with my own spin on it. So that one comes out probably later in the year.
Cool.
It's big, loud, and rowdy. And
That's awesome.
yeah. So
I can't wait, dude.
Yeah, I can't wait for people to see that one because it sounds familiar, but it's not.
That's so cool, man. Well, listen, I appreciate you taking out some time. I'll be spreading the word about the flood because I think it was a blast, and hopefully we'll chat again soon, man.
Absolutely. Thank you very much